Hi everyone. So I was asked if I could please film a Taylor Swift tutorial. She has a concert coming up this week and I thought that would be a fun thing to share with you. So the Taylor Swift look just consists of a very neutral lid and a dark outer corner with some lashes and dark eyeliner, nude cheeks, and then very nude plump lips. Even when she has a little pop of color on her lid, this is still very much the quintessential Taylor Swift look that I could pick out from all of her photos. So I went with this one also because it is a little dark, so I thought it would be very appropriate for a concert, but it's still very much like her look. You wouldn't want to wear some other singer's look to another singer's concert, so figured we'd do the prettiest Taylor Swift look that I could come up with or that I could find. So I'm going to have her thumbnail representing the picture that I took this from, so you know where I'm coming from, and I'll talk to you later. Thanks for watching. Okay, so the very first shade you're going to need is the neutral all over lid color. So whatever your skin tone is, whatever your favorite very smooth, silky, almost your own skin tone color. I'm going to be taking a little bit of Inglot's number 467, which is that lovely peach right there. Hope I'm not blocking it. I'm just going to take a really large paddle brush and we're just going to pat that underneath the brow bone. You could also take something like Wet n Wild's Brulee or the Wet n Wild Silent Treatment palette. Has a really smooth, pretty peach that I think looks a lot like Inglot's number 467. Max Orb, Urban Decay's ABC Gum. If Urban Decay's ABC Gum is not too dark for you. The Wet n Wild Vanity palette has a good dupe of Orb in it as well. So I'd go ahead and I'd take any of those shades just to go all over the lid. So now I'm going to go in with number 461 DS by Inglot, which is just this sort of nutty brown color. This is a really good dupe of MAC's Honey Lust, but personally I would go with Charcoal Brown instead if you have that, because I'm not a big fan of Honey Lust. I also like Wet n Wild's Nutty, or even anything that resembles Satin Taupe, just a taupey color. This one's not as purple as Satin Taupe, but if you have any of like the Too Faced palettes that have all those shadows in them, you can go with that as well. So I'm just going to go into the very outer V with that color. It's just a basic nutty brown color. I wouldn't use MAC's Woodwinked though for this, just because that particular color has so much metallic sheen to it that it really isn't going to add depth to the crease. It's just going to give you a lot of sheen. So we're just going to go ahead and circle that at the orbital bone, wherever your orbital bone is. A very different lid shape for me, and Taylor Swift does. So she actually has almost hooded eyes. Just go along the orbital bone and then just sweep it in. I'm going to be taking a little bit of Inglot's number 390, which is just that matte brown shade. And we're just going to go ahead and sort of sweep that in right there. This is a really nice dupe of MAC's Kid eyeshadow. If you're any skin tone, you can wear it. I know I've had some questions about, well, what if my skin's lighter or darker than yours? And I usually try to pick fairly universal tones. So give them a try when you're in the store. You could ask the consultant for a slight shift in tone or whatever. So I'm going to continue taking that sort of domey brush. This is literally like the 219 with the top cut off. If you want to take anything from like Sonia Kashuk or Essence of Beauty, or even like an e.l.f. pencil brush and just cut the top off, something that doesn't cost a whole lot of money, you could just alter. Now I'm going to be taking a little bit of Inglot's number 465, right about there, and we are just going to pounce that in. I want this to start getting concentrated now. Now, Taylor Swift has probably got the most beautiful, amazing blue eyes. So we're gonna wanna pop out a little bit of that blue. Even if you don't have blue eyes, we're still going with the whole Taylor Swift vibe. You can get some blue contacts if you want. But blue is a color found in nature. It's the ocean, yada, yada, yada. So anybody's going to look good with a little bit of blue, whether they're cool tones or warm tone, kind of just depends on what you pair it with and what blues you go with. So now I'm going to be taking a little bit of Inglot's number AMC and number 53. This is a brown and it almost has like a silver glitter that when you kind of pull it back and forth into the light, you almost see a blue reflex. And I know it's got that blue reflex in there because I'm not even sitting next to a shade with a blue reflex. And I'm going to transition that once more. You could even do this look with the Naked palette, but you're gonna have a more metallic eye. I would probably go with the Sigma Berrigan palette before that, although I don't know if Sigma's palettes are cruelty free or not. It just appears that that palette would give you a closer look to this. So now we're going to add a little bit of Inglot's number AMC number 61, and it's this blackened blue. It's a black with blue glitter in it. If you don't have this, I was going to use the Wet n Wild Color Icon palette as a comparison in the Blue Had Me at Hello. You can take this black down here that has shimmer, or even the navies if you wanted to add a punch of blue. You could take this and the Vanity palette and totally rock out this whole look and you'll be good to go. So that's your other option if you don't have Inglot, and you can go ahead and take just a navy or a black and blue. And we're just going to go ahead and pounce that into the outer corner. So that's just really subtle. I just want it to have a nuance of blue, not be like straight up blue, because you can't really tell that she has like a hint of blue in her makeup. And I'll use the picture I'm using for reference as the thumbnail for you. So we're just going to go ahead and sweep that in. Little circular motions with a blender. Any blender will do. And we're just going to sweep, sweep, sweep. And then, so you can see a major difference. You definitely don't want to leave the eye looking like that. That is not sexy. Now, if you have hooded eyes like Taylor Swift, you can still line the inner rims of your eyes. The key really to doing hooded eyes is just by keeping the darkest of the dark shades more towards the outer corner, and you could pretty much replicate or do anybody's tutorial, any of my tutorials, just by changing the slight placement of the tones. I just took a little bit of Inglot's Gel Liner AMC in number 77 black. It's a matte black, and I just took the Urban Decay 24/7 liner in 0. I got some on there and just lined the inner rims entirely. I'm going to be taking a little bit more of that AMC black gel liner. She's got these beautiful cat eye things, and she doesn't do them like as far out as I go. Her overall look in general is way more subtle than mine, and she's got a staple look, which I don't, but just takes out the wing ever so slightly. It's really very pretty. And it's actually almost a little edgy for a celebrity. Especially for such a sweet young girl to have such an edgy look. It's very unique. So we're just going to go ahead and put that gel liner at the lower lash line. Barely flick it out. Now I want to take a clean liner. This is just the 263, and then I picked up some of that Inglot Blacky Blue color, and I just pressed that all over the Inglot gel liner just to set it and bring up a little bit more of the blue. Now I'm just going to take a very beautiful kind of sweet pair of lashes that I happen to really like, and they are the Mr. Winks Natural Soft Lashes in number 116. They kind of look like clusters. They look a lot like a pair of MAC lashes that came out with the original Lady Gaga lipstick. I believe they were permanent. They were just kind of sold with it. They're really pretty. They're not clusters, and I don't think neither of those were, or those weren't actually. They weren't clusters at all. They just kind of look like clusters. Just gonna wrap those around my finger, put those on with some eyelash glue, and be right back. I'm gonna be taking a little bit of MAC's Weekend Cream Bronzer, and we're just gonna do some slight contouring. So for the face, I would just use a little bit of concealer where needed, and then just do some sort of a nice sort of, I don't know, demi matte or satin finish sort of foundation. That way you don't glow in pictures, because even I wouldn't wear a tinted moisturizer to a big night event, especially if I'm taking photos, because it just wouldn't look appropriate in pictures. And when you're going to like a big event, you want like purely flawless coverage. I'm just always usually in tinted moisturizer because I'm just going to work, and it's nice for daily wear so my skin doesn't act up from being overly covered constantly. So just gonna kind of brisk that into the contour, and we're gonna go down the nose, on the upper lip, bottom lip. I only go on the upper lip these days just to avoid the milk mustache scene. Now for blush, she has just a really sweet peach cheek. I've kind of always equated this color as NARS Sex Appeal. A good dupe I found of NARS Sex Appeal is number 35 blush. It's just this really soft peach, not quite as pale as Sex Appeal, and it's got some silver shimmer, but it kind of gives you that same effect. So I'm just gonna go ahead and pounce that baby on. And even though I'm using a different brush than I have been in my strawberry technique, the same rule applies. Chocolate, strawberry, keep the color out here, bring it forward. Now for a highlight, we're just going to use this Sephora kind of concealer airbrush brush. It's the airbrush concealer brush in number 57. Just looks like that. And I'm going to go ahead with the Inglot number 467, again, that peach. And we're just going to dust that under the eye, like so. When the light hits it, it'll appear a little bit brighter. So that is the cream, chocolate covered strawberries with cream. That's the 3-step technique to blushing, highlighting, and contouring. And I haven't been really doing much else. If you want though, you can just go here, here. She is highlighted on top of matte skin, which is really my own personal ideal. It just keeps the pictures if you are going to take any really pretty. For lipstick, I'm going to go with Urban Decay's Peroxide, which is just a nudie pink with kind of a silver pearl. And then Too Faced Glamour Gloss in Plush, just a peach. This color I used to think was limited edition, but it's permanent. I've seen it a lot of places now. Alright, so that completes the Taylor Swift Fun Nudie look. I hope you enjoyed. Thanks for watching.